In your path within the unconscious mind, you will likely come across the idea of surrendering to the universe. If there is any resistance to the idea, it's a conditioned response. Historically speaking, I was very resistant to the idea of surrender. I was like finding my way with it, gratitude, nature, all the things. And then I start hearing this surrender thing. And it kind of like put a halt in my steps. I'm like, surrender to the fucking who? I'm not surrendering to shit. But if you think about it, if you're on board with the idea of how the unconscious mind works, that is really just a projection from an aspect of our unconscious mind, sometimes referred to as the inner child, that formed these walls to keep us safe or to maintain the feeling of security in some form. If you step back and look at the whole world, the vast majority of people, it's like they're rushing to the grave. Granted, if you were to say that to one of these hypothetical people in the vast majority of people, hey man, hey lady, you're rushing to your grave, man, you would likely get a response of resistance. No, I'm not. This is just what people do. We work, you're working hard, I'm building a life for myself, there's this unconscious resistance. But if we look at it from the bird's eye point of view, it seems that that's the case because they're striving to achieve something, to reach a certain point in their life, to then be happy. Unconsciously, they're looking at happiness as something that they have to achieve, or is only experienced when there's some form of external stimuli to generate it, like hanging out with friends or going to some kind of an event, or it's a certain scene in a movie that finally brings laughter to the face. So if you're on board with this hypothetical example of an individual, this person is fighting to achieve life. They're fighting the whole way once they get the indoctrination that they have to fight until they're allowed to retire because they've reached a certain point. Many of them will say, no, I'm happy. I'm very happy. But you might see a different story if you watch them. I know this space very well, having historically lived this way, which upon reflection helps to make sense of why I was so resistant to the idea of surrender. But this unconscious perception of surrender is incorrect in this context. For in this context, if you're on board with the idea that you have a soul and that this is a spiritual experience, you are a spirit having a human experience, not the other way around. And looking at quantum physics, we can see that consciousness is the only thing that's fundamental, and everything that we perceive as reality is merely a projection. There's a Nobel Prize winner that recently showed this. Then we can realize we're the co-creator of our reality. We are a unique offshoot of that which is infinite intelligence and or quantum field, universe, God. So surrender is allowing things to unfold as they unfold. But when we're fixated on an idea of how something should go, and then it doesn't go that way, or something pops up that knocks us off our course, if this triggers anger, depression, or sadness, then it's just showing yet again this is an aspect of our subconscious mind, sometimes referred to as the inner child, that unconsciously perceives their journey as a fight to achieve a point where they can be happy. The path within, or the path of rewiring your mind or your subconscious mind or your brain, is not some hippy-dippy woo-woo shit. That's just one perspective. In reality, it's the path to freedom. It's the path to liberation. It's the path to true, sustainable happiness that continues to grow. So surrender to the flow.